if I'm being totally honest, like I kind of got sucked in. I did. I guess I just like I'm looking backwards and I'm going, whoa! I gave a lot of time. I gave a lot of energy. I want to like just acknowledge that the media kind of painted some pictures that were scary, you know? What do you say to those people that are like really feeling like the next little bit's going to be scary?
Welcome to Living God's Light, a podcast to help you strengthen your spirituality and your connection with God. We are so happy to have you as a part of the Living God's Light family.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I got kind of volunteered to talk about what we're talking about today. So there have been, so the election just ended, and we've all got friends from all over the political spectrum. And this cycle and last cycle, there's just people all over the place that are just either excitement or angst or fear and all mixed up together at the same time. And we just wanted to talk about how to handle and how to process all of this, regardless of where you are on the political spectrum. Because we all know the political fortunes shift, sometimes very dramatically. And it's not just in the United States. Worldwide, there's a lot of shifting going on. And so we just kind of wanted to talk about where we're at and having that larger perspective and maybe share some things, some ways to hold this that will help. Through this.
So can I just ask, like, like I'm perceiving that there was a big shift, and like I guess it's like where do I grab my footing? I don't know. What do you guys think? Like how it ended, where we go from here? Like where do we go from here?
The hard part is with so much passion on both sides, how do we unify? That's the crazy, secret answer or mystery answer is how do we unify? And I think the biggest aspect of it is understanding that we're not so different. Even though there was 2 teams or 3 teams or however many teams in your local election, no matter how many teams there are, we still are part of humanity. And that from the greatest of us to the worst of us, we are still part of humanity. And that we don't need to see our enemy everywhere we go. Otherwise, we create enemies everywhere we look.
So can I ask you, Vinny, like people are very passionate about things that they cared about, right? And I guess in their own way, maybe they feel like, yes, mine is going to go forward, or yes, what I care about is not going to be cared about anymore. So these things are really deep in their hearts, like things that they, are very passionate about. What do they do with that?
Well, I'll let them know right off the bat, they're not alone. 4 years ago, I was having the same sessions that I'm having now, but with the other side. And, their hopes, their dreams were ripped away, torn away, whatever. But it's what's really neat, though, is the message from Spirit has been the same all along, that we are the masters of our own universe. We are the creators of our universe. And the outside world does not need to define the inside world. And in fact, it's reverse. The inside world does define the outside world for us. The universe is just you inside out. So if you're seeing this great conflict outside of you, look at it as this opportunity to go within, to bring balance. And I'll tell you, something that comes through so very regularly, and even for myself, this comes up. If I get very passionate about one party or one candidate, I know that someone or something else is puppeting me. That's not going to be a case if I'm truly objectively understanding that that the pendulum swings back and forth on a regular basis. But what happens to that clock if you hold the pendulum to one side too long? You stop time. And part of time is that pendulum regularly going back and forward. Now, for everyone who's coming from a state of victimhood right now, my heart goes out to you. I love you. And I want you to know that the sun will come up tomorrow. It came up today. It's a beautiful day today, at least here in Vegas it is. And the sun's going to keep coming up, and 4 more years will be there. And maybe it will go your direction in 4 more years, or whatever the spectrum of the elections we're talking about, because there are elections all over the world. But it's important for us to not lose our hope. That's something that we can give up, but no one can take from us. No one can take your hope. And a great book, which I know all 3 of us in here have read this book, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, is a tremendous example of the power of the mind and how we can overcome the greatest of hardships. And I promise you that where we are today is not any worse than where Viktor Frankl was when he was in a concentration camp.
It's very true.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts, Lynn?
It's a really awesome book.
We'll have to. I actually haven't read that one, so I'm gonna have to put that on my list. So thank you for sharing that. But Lynn, I'd love to hear.
It's really good. So I've been deeply involved in politics for more than 40 years. After I moved, I've been cleaning out some old papers, and I came across an old welcome letter. Welcome to the teenage group for this organization. And I've been like deeply, deeply involved. And what I've just been telling people, I told people this 4 years ago, I'm telling people this now. Really, all this is the latest season of the longest running drama on television.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. I've lost count of the number of times it's been the most important election of my lifetime. It's more than half a dozen. And I've got a friend who's deep into politics and deep into sports, and he responds to them the exact same way. Now, this isn't to say that it's not important. I've got family members on both sides. Some of them are worried about what are the changes going to be for their circumstance. Well, welcome to life. That's just the way that it is. But like Vinny said, if you're getting really like emotionally caught up about things, where are you getting, and we talk about this in the book, avoiding negative influences. I've got introduced to a term fairly recently that I really like, conflict entrepreneurs. There's people out there that that's pretty much their business model is generating, I won't call them negative emotions, but like uncomfortable emotions. My wife, who's a physicist with a focus in neuroscience, taught me about how our brains get addicted to emotions. The chemical receptors are neurons in our brain. Neurons? Might be wrong on that. But anyway, the chemical receptors in your brain, they get used to particular chemicals. They'll adapt to that. And so if you're getting a lot of the fear and anxiety sort of a thing, your brain's going to get more, it's going to be easier for those to attach. If you work on reprogramming your brain to get more of the happy, positive things, then that becomes addictive as well. Your brain adapts to those. So look at what you're filling your space with. And this is 2 things in the book that we talk about is the avoiding negative influences, and then also the power of creation, and remembering that you get more of what you focus on. So if you want to get rid of hate, you've got to fill it with love. Martin Luther King Jr. talked about this, that hate never destroyed hate. You just have to replace it with love. Same thing with sickness and health and a whole bunch of things. So look at what you're creating, what's in your mind, what's in your heart, and whatever you want the world to be that.
Yeah. Wow. If I'm being totally honest, like I kind of got sucked in.
Oh, it's easy to do.
And I guess I just I'm looking backwards and I'm going, whoa, I gave a lot of time. I gave a lot of energy. it's okay. Like, don't beat myself up about it. It's okay that I did. It's okay that I actually got pretty passionate. I actually am still a little passionate about some things that, like, may or may not happen. I don't know, but it doesn't matter, because what matters is like what's going on in here, like in my heart right now, right? Like, and if I want to keep dwelling on things that I literally can't control, I'm going to keep feeding that fear, right? That you're just talking about. Like, I'm just going to keep like giving it little nuggets to keep it alive inside me. So, but like, I just want to honor and give space that, there are people that are feeling like, really feel fearful because, I want to like just acknowledge that the media kind of painted some pictures that were scary, you know, and people are fearful, and I want to give space to that. And what do you say to those people that are like really feeling like the next little bit's going to be scary?
One thing for me is I've learned in my own life that what I look for, I will eventually find, even if what I'm looking for is not truth.
Okay.
And it's important for us to recognize that life is much grander than our country, our place of origin, our home, our rights. Our existence is much larger than that. And that when we hand our hope over to these fear-mongering organizations like news stations, every news station out there is guilty of it. They pander to our fears. They do. And why? Because we don't change the channel. That's why.
Yeah.
And they know if they can keep you in a state of fear, you stay locked in on that station longer than if they were just talking about the news, actually reporting news, not spinning news. And this is something that you will see on both sides of the spectrum. That's what causes the division. The axe that splits our country is the news stations. It is. There's no question. That's the fear-mongering that you get on both sides. And I lovingly invite everyone to turn off their news. And most of the news stations will go out of business after this, by the way. Because you can't keep fearing people and keep being Chicken Little without the sky actually falling. Eventually people wake up.
Yeah.
And I promise you that there are good people everywhere you go, no matter which direction they voted. There are people that are suffering because they do believe it's the end of the world, but it's not. They thought it was the end of the world when Carter became president in the United States. They thought it was the end of the world when Reagan became president. So it's one of those things that in hindsight, we get 2020, but before hindsight arrives, we have to own our hope and don't let anything take that hope. For me, something that works really well, Lynn is one of the most like calm-minded people. And he can tell you in the years that we've been, meeting and talking, once in a while I get so passionate about something and he's like, simmer down, Vinny, calm down. And I've learned the power of breath, that just breathe, allow yourself those breaths, allow your physiology to not believe the story that the outside world is telling you, and allow your universe to be you inside out, meaning control what's inside you, control that part. Allow yourself to think positive thoughts, even about those who voted for the other party, because I'm telling you that, the news would tell you that the person who voted for so-and-so or so-and-so is evil, or they worship something, or they want to take away all your rights. But here's the thing. They're just normally 90% of us are people that want to take care of their families and have their freedoms. That's it. No matter what country you go to, 90% of the people are there. It's the 10% extremes, 5 in one direction, 5 in the other direction. That's what allows the country to kind of rip apart. But we don't have to be that way. The only way we're that way is when we give our hope away to these people that spin it way out of control. Yeah. By the way, thanks, Lynn. He always is like pulling me back down, because I am in full authenticity. I'm a libertarian. I believe in liberty myself, and liberty to me is very important above all, because I have gone and visited communist countries, even lived near communism, and then visit it regularly. And I'm telling you, not being pro or anti, I'm just know that there's great power with freedom. There is. Yeah.
So part of this is actually from my experience in the military, traveling all over the world. One of the things that I found, kind of echoing what Vinny said, really when you get down to it, all over the world, most folks, they just want to have some kind of a worthwhile job or career, or something where they can provide something that helps to give their life meaning, and they want to spend time with their family and with their friends. I mean, really, that's what it is. And then one of the things, so I was in the military when 9/11 happened, and being not just a warrior, but I also wanted to always be like a warrior scholar. And so I did a lot of study and a lot of research into the people who were involved in that. And what I discovered is when you really understand, I'll use the term enemy, when you really understand your enemy, you empathize with them, you love them. And if you do not have love for whatever you see as the other side, you do not understand them.
Mhm.
So even though there were things that I was actively fighting against, I understood what was happening and why they got to that, and I loved them, even while I was trying to prevent more of that from happening. And if you can do that on that scale, you can definitely do it with your neighbor talking politics. The other thing that I was going to say is the national stage is what gets all of the attention. But that's not really where the action is. I worked in county government for 12 years, and I had no idea how much influence the city and the county and the state have, and really the county level. If you want to really get involved and do something, lovingly get involved at the county level. And then I'm sure in other countries around the world, there's probably something else, but whatever the local equivalent is, and get to know your neighbor. That's really what it's all about. Have a loving conversation. You can have a conversation about anything if you're in a place of love.
Love that. I love that so much. Man, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground, but I do have one question for both of you. Vinny, you said don't let go of hope, right? Like don't lose that. So what is like today? Make a change. What is something I can do today to kind of ground myself in that hope and look forward?
Let's say hypothetically I was on the losing side, the side that lost, and I'm all sad. I have lost all my hope. The quickest way to get it back is to get out and be the proof that the other side chose the wrong. Be the proof of that by going out and being the kind person, and loud and proud, be the kind version of what the opposite party is. And when doing so, sometimes you end up switching parties, or you don't realize that you never were a party, that you're just a human and you're part of the greatest race in all the cosmos, which is the human race. And that where we take care of each other and we love each other, no one can really step in and control everything when we're taking care of each other. So use that love energy. It goes very far. It's just like with a child. If you're struggling with a child, the worst thing you can do is hate them or cut them off. So don't do that.
Yeah.
Love them, serve them, prove that you love them, and minds are changed. So, I answer, definitely use the love factor, because it will change your physiology if you allow that. But I also warn that victimhood is very powerful. And it is an illusion, because victimhood has never won anything. Anything. Even talk to these attorneys that get these big judgments against other organizations. When you grandize your victimhood, there's no judgment large enough that will subsidize what goes on inside your soul. Don't give your soul away to victimhood. It's a God in itself. It really is. And people worship at the idol of victimhood every day. And it has never done anything good for anyone, ever. Love has, though. Love has built bridges. Love has built countries. Love has built treaties. Love has built families. Love is extremely powerful. And I challenge those who are in that suffering right now, choose love and go read Man's Search for Meaning. Even if you don't believe the Holocaust happened, go read it anyway. It's a really good book. And it's very powerful.
So I would add to that if you are not happy with where you're at emotionally, look at what you're filling your life with that keeps you there. Mm-hmm. And look for things to replace it with, because there's more options than there have ever been. I mean, thank you for listening to the podcast. We're one of those places that we're hoping are bringing that light and that love into your life. But there are a lot of them. And cultivate the garden that you want. Plant the things that you want to grow in your garden of your heart and your mind. And if you've got a bunch of weeds you don't want, look at what keeps putting those seeds in there and replace it with whatever things that you do love.
Yeah. I
love that. Change the outside world by changing the inside world. I love that so much. That's powerful.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's really great, advice for us to move forward in. And also, really, a lot of us are going to need to digest this. So thank you so much, Lynn. Thank you so much, Vinny.
One thing I will say is, thanks to everybody who had the comments and the questions. This is a direct result of your input. So keep sending us those into this new format that we're doing. We're going to keep addressing that sort of thing.
Yep. So keep them coming.
And I want to express too that real quick. Sorry.
You're good.
We love you guys. We love you guys.
We do.
And I promise the sun will come up tomorrow. Things are going to get better, no matter where you're at.
Yeah, and it all starts with what's in you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep. Love you all.
Thank you for joining us on the Living God's Light podcast. You can help keep the show going through getting merch at livinggodslight.com or contributing what you think the show is worth on our website or by going through Patreon. Thank you for sharing your light with the world. You are making a difference, and we love you.